But then it becomes, almost pliable like clay. Yeah, let's see. I thought I was having- Well, that's water. But I can beat that down, just kind of put a point on it. A smaller piece will cool off rather quickly, but a big piece, ½ inch or an inch thick, will hold its heat quite a long time. In wintertime, it's almost impossible to do anything because the anvil's so cold.
Oh, sure. What would they have done in the wintertime? They just had to work that much harder to get stuff done?
I'll tell you what we do. We have a piece of steel here, and we just an ordinary piece of steel. Put it in the fire and heat it up,
Okay.
and then we'll let that get nice and hot, and then we'll put it over the top of the anvil, and it'll cause the anvil to start getting warm. And because as it is, it's like putting a hot stick on an ice cube. It just cools it off right away. Yeah, that kind of spreads the fire all over the place, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, now I get this a little bit spark. Then I can make it flat. And we start to curl it up and do whatever we want to with it. Make something, I don't know, a handle, or it doesn't amount to much. It's pretty obvious though, it's a whole lot easier to bend when it's hot like that. And as this heats up, then I can take the tongs and put it over on the anvil and warm up the anvil. The other problem in the wintertime is when we try to quench the steel, the water's frozen.
And what do you do about that?
Can't do very much about it. Sometimes we just open the door and put it in the snow or stick it in the ground. Well, that's not very hot yet, but I guess on a day like today, we don't need it that hot. But then with the tongs, I can take it and just lay it on the anvil and let it warm the anvil up a little bit.
So is that something they might have done the
In
turn of
earlier
the
times?
century? Or is that more of a modern invention? Do we
Oh
know?
no, I'm quite sure they heated metal to then warm up the anvil. Because in the north here, cold winter climates, you wouldn't have much choice. But also, in a real setting, the blacksmith shop probably was used every day, and it didn't cool off quite as much as it does when you only come back a week afterwards. Warm
Sure.
it up. But with all the stuff around, all the heavy iron, it takes a while to warm the whole thing up for it to then cool off again. So that's pretty much what what the fire's all about. But then we always have a little shovel here in the fire pit, a source of coal, and a couple of poking rods so we can get down to the bottom there and free up the air that's coming through from the blower. But like this, you can see the heat in the steel there.
Mm-hmm.
But on a sunny day, that doesn't show up much at all.
Oh, I could understand why that would make your job
Yeah.
a bit harder.
But then when you've been looking into the fire and then you look over here and it's just all dark, golly, where is it? So